Jenna and I connected about 7 years ago, instantly clicking and forming a tight bond. We both grew up in America's heartland, sharing strong Christian values that prioritized God above all else. Even family time on Sundays revolved around church and discussions about our future. I built a promising career as an engineer, while Jenna thrived selling accounting software for a major tech company in Dallas. Before our wedding, my well-off parents gifted me a 3-bedroom house as a graduation present, believing in sharing their wealth during their lifetime. Jenna and I married a little over 5 years ago, and it's felt like an extended honeymoon ever since. Our sex life was passionate, connecting intimately at least 4 times a week. Friends joked about us being soulmates, some even envious of our closeness. Our joy doubled with the arrival of our twin girls. Raising them became our primary focus, creating a loving, nurturing home. Our life might be considered boring by some. We mostly stayed in, cooking at home, reserving Friday and Saturday nights for outings, and Sundays for church. We weren't into socializing or fashion trends, and Jenna's attire was always quite conservative, both at work and home. Intimacy was private, rarely displayed publicly. Our marriage thrived on trust and open communication. Jenna's affectionate nature, expressed through gentle touches, kisses, and hugs, was something I adored. We shared everything. Raising twins had its challenges, but I cherished every moment. While Jenna sometimes felt stressed, I supported her. We communicated effectively, addressing problems as they arose. Life with Jenna and the girls was fulfilling. A week before her company's annual exhibition, Jenna learned she had to attend because some coworkers had fallen ill. She tried to get out of it but couldn't. Apologizing, she explained she'd tried everything, even talking to her boss, but had no choice but to leave for 3 days. I reassured her, saying we'd manage but would miss her. I helped her pack, and we left together for the airport limo provided by her company. Our marriage was rock solid, built on trust and honesty. Jenna had never given me a reason to doubt her. We were always open, especially about raising our children. On her second night away, I received a message from Mike, a colleague and friend, who was at a cybersecurity event in Dallas. He'd seen Jenna at the exhibition and asked if I was there too. I confirmed she was in Dallas but wasn't sure about the exhibition's name. His message felt odd. Then he sent 2 photos and a short video. I froze, dread washing over me. The first picture showed Jenna in a dress I'd never seen, incredibly short, with a low neckline, revealing more than I was accustomed to. She wore unfamiliar heels, her hair and makeup flawless. She looked stunning. My initial reaction was amusement, thinking, I wish Jenna would dress like that sometimes. But the humor quickly faded. The next picture showed her sitting close to a man, her boss, Tom Foster. My mind went numb. The final image, a close-up of Jenna smiling into Tom's eyes, made my heart sink. I tried to rationalize it, but it was difficult. The video was short, but devastating. It showed Jenna kissing Tom, her arms around his neck, his hand on her chest. My world crumbled. I couldn't breathe, felt nauseous, and tears streamed down my face. Mike messaged, "Are you okay? What do you want me to do? Do you want me to check on her?" I replied, "Yes, I'll call her right now." Jenna's phone went to voicemail. I left a message saying we missed her and hoped she was having a pleasant evening. Then I messaged Mike, "Just tried to reach her." He replied quickly, sounding guilty. "Hank, I'm sorry about this. She saw your call and just put her phone away. I've never seen her act or dress like this." "It's all right, Mike," I responded. "Thanks for telling me. You've been a good friend. I'll handle this. No need to follow her. Just keep me posted." "Are you going to be okay, man?" he asked. "No, but I'll manage. I know what I need to do. Thanks again." I sat in the dimly lit living room, nursing a strong drink, trying to process everything. How had I missed this? How long had it been going on? Nothing made sense. Our relationship had only grown stronger in the past 6 months. An hour later, Mike sent more photos and videos. One clip showed them dancing, his hand on her back. Another captured a kiss on the dance floor. A photo showed they were locked in a deep kiss, oblivious to the music stopping. I knew it was over between Jenna and me, but so much remained unresolved. Using my problem-solving skills honed over years as an engineer, I spent the next few days strategizing. Then, around 10 p.m., right after receiving the last of those gut-wrenching photos, Jenna called. I took a deep breath, determined to remain composed. "Hey, sorry I missed your call earlier," she said, her voice soft and sweet. "I was at a dinner meeting and couldn't talk. I miss you so much, babe. I wish I could be there with you, cuddling under the covers, showering you with kisses. I miss you too, Jenna. I love you so much and I appreciate you calling. The girls are doing great, by the way. I'll send you some photos. They miss you like crazy and can't wait for you to come home. I tried to get out of here tomorrow, but my boss insisted I stay. I hate being away from you guys, but we'll celebrate when I'm back." "You finished for the day?" she asked casually. "Yeah, I'm about to go to bed. It's been a long day. Love you, babe. I'll call you tomorrow. Good night." "I love you more than words can say, Jenna. Good night." After hanging up, the tears returned. Everything I'd said was true. I did love her more than anything. Part of me still hoped it was a nightmare. But as the hours passed, I couldn't sleep. Was she really in her hotel room? What was she doing? Mike answered that question with another photo. Jenna and Tom on a hotel lobby couch, kissing, his hands under her skirt, her arms around his neck. They looked like a couple in love, shamelessly affectionate in public. "One last thing, buddy," Mike messaged. "I'm done for the night, but it looks like she's busy. Let me know if you want me to stop. I can put an end to this." I stared at my phone, fighting back emotions. "It's tough to see, but thanks for the photos. You don't need to follow her anymore. Let her go. It's her mistake, not yours. I appreciate everything you've done. I'm so sorry, man. I'm here if you need me." "Thanks, I'll take care of it." I cried myself to sleep, knowing the woman I loved had betrayed me. Exhaustion finally took over, and I found some solace in remembering our wedding vows and the joy of our daughters. The next morning, Jenna sent affectionate messages filled with hearts, kisses, and emojis, expressing how much she missed us, even hinting at a passionate night together upon her return. When she finally arrived, she acted as if nothing had happened. I wondered if she had a dissociative disorder or had been unknowingly drugged. I searched for explanations, but deep down, I knew I had to face reality. Our conversations seemed normal, with Jenna emphasizing how much she'd missed us. The deepest pain wasn't just the affair, but her lies to cover it up. The deceit felt as devastating as watching her kiss Tom in those photos. After Mike's revelations, I took action. Using my tech skills, I discreetly installed tracking software on Jenna's phone, initially intended for lost devices. I got the latest version, even walking Jenna through setup, pretending it was for convenience. It had a voice recording feature, capturing calls, texts, and emails, automatically uploading everything to the cloud. I'd never intended to spy on her, but my trust was shattered. My priority was protecting our daughters, and if possible, salvaging our marriage. Caring for the twins provided a reprieve from the heartache. Making breakfast, cleaning up toys, playing dolls. These moments were a lifeline. Taking care of 3-year-old twins is no small feat. Around 2 p.m., after putting the girls down for a nap, tidying the house and showering, I sat at the kitchen table to catch up. Jenna had sent 6 more sweet messages, saying she'd call at 5 p.m. After reading them, I logged into the cloud account and reviewed the recordings. I was speechless reading her texts with Tom. "You were amazing last night, babe. Can't wait for tonight. Thanks, honeybee. I had a great time, too. Let's meet in my room after work before dinner." "Sounds good, but I need to call my husband first. I'll be ready by 5:15. "Does he suspect anything?" "Of course not. He thinks I'm still in love with him. We've kept it a secret for over 6 months, and he has no clue." My blood boiled. Honeybee was my pet name for her, used during our most intimate moments. Now she'd given it to him. How blind had I been? I slammed my laptop shut and hurled a lamp across the room, watching it smash. The rage I'd suppressed finally exploded. Just as I was about to throw something else, The twins' cries brought me back to reality. I calmed down, rushed to their room, and held them until they settled. After cleaning the mess, I let the girls play while I poured another drink, trying to process everything. Our marriage was beyond repair. It was time to act. I lacked the emotional energy to review more of their conversations, so I let the files accumulate in the cloud. I'd maintain appearances with Jenna, pretending to be the loving husband while planning my next steps, contacting a divorce lawyer, hiring a private investigator, and securing custody of the girls. Their well-being was paramount. "Hey, sweetheart," Jenna's voice came through the phone. "How are the girls doing?" "They're missing their mommy," I replied, keeping my voice steady. "Oh, I miss them so much," she said, her voice full of affection. "And of course, I miss you too. I can't wait to wrap my arms around you when I get back. I'm going to give you the biggest kiss you've ever had." I played along. "I think of you constantly, darling. I can't wait to hold my loving, beautiful wife again soon." "My love," she purred. "We'll be together soon." I somehow held it together. Our 15-minute call ended at 5:15. "I love you, Hank. I've got to catch the bus back to the hotel, but I'll message you later." "I love you too, sweetheart," I responded, knowing it was another lie. The hurt was morphing into contempt, anger, and a need for revenge. I had loved her completely, and the betrayal cut deep. But I was determined to expose her lies and make her face the consequences. When Jenna returned, I greeted her at the airport. She embraced and kissed me as if nothing had changed. Either she was a phenomenal actress, or she still cared. I couldn't decipher if her affair with Tom was purely physical or something more. Her behavior was baffling. That evening she spent an hour with the girls, relishing every moment. Later she was especially affectionate in bed, whispering how much she'd missed us, how hard it was being away. She spoke of wanting nothing more than to be close. In bed she was tender and loving, the opposite of the woman in those photos. I reciprocated, playing the doting husband, savoring every moment because I knew it wouldn't last. I hid the truth, continuing to shower her with love. To everyone else, our relationship looked perfect, even enviable. But it was all an act. For 3 long months, I watched for signs of infidelity, but saw nothing unusual. Jenna came home on time, no strange calls or messages. Part of me hoped it had all been a mistake. Then I received a call from Carlos, the private investigator. We met the next day at his downtown office. "Good afternoon, Hank. Good to see you again." "Likewise, Mr. Carlos," I replied, bracing myself. "I wish I had better news," he said seriously. "I have some tough information to share. Are you ready to go over our findings?" I sighed and nodded, already knowing. Carlos placed a thick binder before me, divided into sections: text messages, voice transcripts, video calls, phone records, and photos. "Mr. Carlos," I said, rubbing my temples, "I'm confused. I've been monitoring her closely for the past 3 months, and nothing has seemed off. She's been the perfect wife. None of this makes sense." "Let me walk you through it," Carlos said calmly, "and we'll see if anything becomes clearer." I hadn't been able to review the cloud files, clinging to hope. That hope shattered as Carlos flipped through the pages. Over 75 pages of texts, 25 of emails, and 75 of time-stamped photos showed Jenna and Tom entering and exiting hotel rooms together. There were over 82 video calls and 50 pages of phone transcripts. "Jenna and Tom have been meeting at a motel at least 4 times a week for the past 3 months, Carlos explained. "They spent an average of 2 hours together each time." My stomach churned. Then Carlos showed me a photo of another man. "For the past month, it seems she's also been seeing this man," he said. "Do you recognize him?" I stared, feeling the blood drain from my face. "Is that Charlie Gray? He's the CEO of her company." "Are you telling me she's involved with 2 men, one being the CEO? Carlos's expression softened. "I'm afraid so. Based on the text messages, phone calls, and videos, it's clear she's been in a physical relationship with both of them." He paused. "There's a video labeled Balcony. It shows them engaging in an intimate moment on a balcony, with Charlie behind her as she leans over the railing. They didn't realize they were being recorded. The footage is high definition. We have clear close-ups of their faces, and the audio was recorded too." Carlos played the video on a massive 80-inch screen. My heart shattered as I watched the woman I once adored. I felt sick and had to step out to regain my composure. Returning, I urged Carlos to continue. I needed to know everything. The video labeled Balcony 2 shows your wife with both Charlie and Tom at the same time, Carlos said somberly. I'm sorry to show you this, but since they were in public, these recordings could be useful if you pursued divorce and custody. I sat there stunned. Jenna, I prayed desperately for a mistake. Hank, Carlos continued, we've looked into both Tom Foster and Charlie Gray. Tom has been married for 10 years with 4 young children. Charlie has been married for 25 years with 3 grown children. The texts between your wife and Tom reveal that Tom introduced Charlie after Jenna expressed interest in, well, a love triangle. It's tough to read, but I'll leave it with you. He handed me a folder and a USB drive. Your lawyer will likely need these. My lawyer was shocked by the evidence. She couldn't believe Jenna had hidden her infidelity so well. At home, Jenna continued playing the devoted wife and mother. My lawyer outlined legal options, but needed time to review everything. We scheduled another appointment, and I instructed her to begin divorce proceedings. Leaving her office, I felt hollow. I'd known it was over, but those videos extinguished any hope of reconciliation. Who was this woman? Later, after putting the girls to bed, Jenna and I sat down to watch Unfaithful. I'd casually suggested it, knowing its theme, preparing for a conversation. Nonchalantly, I mentioned a flirty intern at my office. Can you imagine me with another woman? I chuckled. Jenna's eyes narrowed. Really? Who? If I catch you even thinking about being with her, I'm gone. You're mine and no one else's. Her indignation, given her own actions, was mind-blowing. It was driving me mad. Hank, why didn't you tell me about her sooner? What's her name? She pressed. Relax, Jenna, I said, forcing a smile. She's just a young, flirty intern. I've completely ignored her. What about you? You're the most beautiful woman in your office. No one flirts with you? Of course not, she snapped. They all know I'm married, and I'd never cheat on you. So in all the years we've been together, you've never once entertained the idea of being with someone else? Not even a friendly kiss? Have you ever cheated on me? Her anger flared. Are you serious right now? How could you ask me that? I constantly tell you how much I love you. I've always been faithful to you. I can't believe you'd even think that. I quickly apologized, keeping the peace. We resumed watching the movie. I chuckled to myself. She could have been an actress. No wonder she was so good at her job. Once the tension eased, she leaned against my shoulder. I knew it was time. I opened my phone, pulled up a photo of Jenna and Tom kissing on the dance floor, his hand on her behind. What are you doing, Hank? Why aren't you watching the movie? Because what I'm looking at is a bit more real, I replied calmly. What do you mean? She asked, her voice uneasy. I muted the movie and turned my phone screen towards her. The image of their passionate kiss filled the room. She froze. That's quite the kiss you're giving Tom, I said sharply. Where did you get that? She finally managed to ask. You were at dinner with your pal Tom Foster, right? My friend Mike spotted you too. Texted me to confirm if it was really you. Turns out it was. And he sent me this. I've got to say, you look stunning in that dress. I've never seen you wear something so revealing. Trying to impress your boyfriend, maybe? Go ahead, I'm all ears. What's your explanation? She fumbled for words, her confidence wavering. It was just one dance, Hank. He was drunk, and after the song ended, he grabbed me and kissed me. What you don't see is that I slapped him right after and caused a scene. I'd never let that happen. I bought that dress for a business dinner and didn't realize how revealing it was until now. I'm so sorry. I could see she was trying to salvage the situation, but I wasn't convinced. I get it. Things happen. Was that the only incident? Yes, baby. And it won't happen again, she said, her voice shaky. I played along, letting her believe her excuses. We resumed watching the movie, but Jenna was on edge. After a few minutes, I reached for my phone again, playing the video of them on the couch. She shot me a panicked look. What are you watching now? Remember that night you called saying you'd had a long day and were heading to bed? Yes, she whispered. Well, Mike sent me another message about 2 hours after that. This time it was a video. Want to see? I asked, hitting play. The video showed them kissing, his hands roaming. I'm eager to hear a new explanation, I said, smiling. My anger had turned into cold contempt and a strange amusement at her desperation. Jenna's voice trembled. Hank, I'm so sorry. After we hung up, Tom called me to discuss a client issue for the next morning. He asked me to meet him in the lobby. I had a few drinks and got tipsy. You know how I am when I've had too much. I know the video looks bad, but nothing else happened. I told him to stop, reminded him I was married, and then I went to my room. I raised an eyebrow. That's part of the problem, honeybee. I watched her flinch. I've always believed you, but in the last 20 minutes, you've lied to me twice. Can you understand how I feel? Here I am, sitting at home, and the woman I love is off kissing her boss in some bar, wearing the most revealing dress I've ever seen. How do you think I feel? Hank, I love you, she sobbed. That was 3 months ago. Why didn't you confront me earlier? Honestly, I said, staring her down. I wanted to see if you'd come clean. I hoped you'd be as honest as we've always been. But now I see where we stand. So tell me, are there any other lies? Do you have feelings for him? Are you thinking about leaving me? I was toying with her, enjoying her squirming. She cried harder, swearing she loved only me. Jenna, please don't keep telling me how much you love me. I know you do, and I still love you. But that doesn't change these photos. I need answers. Are there any more lies? She took a deep breath. Hank, please believe me. Nothing more than a kiss happened. I told him to stop every time. I don't know what Mike told you, but you have to trust me. I sighed, pretending to consider her words. All right, baby. I trust you. But here's what I don't get. Why did you dress like that for him? You've never worn something like that for me. Was it for him? And do you have feelings for him? Please. I need the truth. Tears started again. No, Hank. I only love you. I never want to lose you. I don't know why I dressed that way. Maybe it's because the other women were wearing similar outfits and I wanted to fit in. I felt insecure. But nothing happened. I swear. I gave her a long look. I understand that. But why didn't you tell me about Tom and your interactions? If nothing happened, why hide it? I didn't want to upset you, she whispered. He's my boss, and I didn't want to risk my job. If anything had actually happened, I would have told you right away. You believe me, don't you? I comforted her with a kiss, holding her as she cried. That moment marked the beginning of my revenge. That night, we made love, and I found myself detached, imagining her with her lovers. I wasn't about to deny myself her body. She played her role perfectly, but I didn't care. She was more passionate than ever, trying to convince me I was the only one. This continued for weeks. Every night, her performance was flawless, and I enjoyed the show. The next morning, I checked the cloud for new messages with Tom. She didn't disappoint. Oh my God, someone took photos of us at the exhibition and sent them to Hank. His friend saw me at the restaurant. I'm not sure if he knows yet, but the video showed us kissing. Damn! Now that you mention it, I remember a guy with a phone. How did Hank react? Nothing. I convinced him it was no big deal. He has no idea I spent the night in your room. I told him it was just because I had a few drinks. He's always been easy to sway. A few kisses and some good sex, and he forgets everything. Be careful, babe. We'll meet tomorrow at 1 p.m. as usual. Can't wait. Love you, honeybee. Love you too. That was the last message I needed. I felt like the world's biggest fool, but there was a strange satisfaction in plotting revenge. I continued carefully and deliberately, enjoying Jenna's charades, waiting to see how many more lies she could tell. My first priority was securing my finances. I transferred funds, closed accounts, and kept my main Visa card active, but reduced the credit limit to $2,500, just enough to prevent serious damage. Jenna remained oblivious. I confirmed with my lawyer that since I said sarcastically, everything is just fine then. She smiled at me, a smile that once melted my heart, but now only filled me with disgust. Hank, she continued, her voice soft and pleading, we can fix this. We have a beautiful family, 2 amazing daughters. Don't throw it all away for a moment of anger. I let her continue, watching her performance with a detached curiosity. She spoke of love and commitment, of how much she regretted her actions, and how she would do anything to make things right. She even suggested we go to therapy, couples counseling. It was all so predictable, so transparent. "Jenna," I finally interrupted her, my voice calm but firm. "You're a great actress. I'll give you that. But it's over. The trust is gone, and without trust, we have nothing." Because I had owned the house before our marriage, I wouldn't be forced to leave once the legal papers were served. It was then that I composed that fateful email. I attached videos, text messages, and photographs, planning to disseminate them to all of Jenna's contacts, her friends, family, and colleagues. I also prepared duplicate binders to be sent to Mrs. Faust and Mrs. Gray, ensuring they shared in the fallout. These would be distributed simultaneously with the legal notifications. My lawyer was also diligently preparing public civil lawsuits against both Tom, her boss, and Charlie, the CEO. Given the company's prominence on the Eastern Seaboard, my lawyer was eager to involve the CEO directly. We intended to propose a settlement before the full scope of their misdeeds came to light. Additionally, I collaborated with a child services attorney to secure full custody of our daughters. Weeks were spent gathering all the necessary documentation. On the surface, everything appeared normal. Jenna and I spent time with the children, acting like the perfect couple, maintaining the facade. Our conversations skirted the obvious issue, and I'm certain my silence tormented her. The uncertainty about my intentions must have been agonizing. To further unsettle her, I occasionally dropped leading questions. "So, Jenna," I inquired casually one evening, "has your boss done anything about what occurred at the exhibition? Is there something you need to tell me?" I was already privy to everything from her conversations with Tom, but it was amusing to observe her lies. I could even anticipate when she was about to fabricate something. Nevertheless, she remained composed, asserting that nothing had transpired and their interactions were strictly professional. "We've been so busy lately we barely talk," she stated, her voice unwavering. I smirked inwardly, still marveling at her effortless capacity for deceit. The mother of my children, the woman I once adored. That night, I chose to unleash the last of my pent-up fury. I confronted her, not with words, but by taking her forcefully in bed. "Oh my God, Hank," she gasped, breathless. "What's gotten into you? You're so passionate tonight. I've never seen you like this, but I'm enjoying it." I simply smiled to myself, knowing this would be our final intimate encounter before everything erupted. The following day, I was determined to strip my soon-to-be ex-wife of everything I could. The next afternoon, the sheriff entered the offices of Omnitech Industries and requested to see Mr. Gray. Moments later, Sheriff Clark handed Charlie an envelope. "Mr. Gray, you've been served." Charlie stood alone in his office, clutching the envelope, fear washing over him as he repeatedly read the complaint. He hastily summoned Tom to his office. By this time, Tom had also been served. "What the hell? How did this happen?" Tom demanded, storming into Charlie's office. "If my wife finds out about this, I'm ruined." Charlie growled. "This is your fault. You promised me this woman would never expose us like this. Fix this, Tom, or I will destroy you and your family. Understand?" Charlie was not someone to be trifled with. He had ruthlessly climbed to the pinnacle of a multi-billion-dollar corporation and had no intention of backing down. Tom rushed out of the office, his mind racing. He needed to speak with Jenna immediately. As he hurried down the hall towards her office, he saw the sheriff exiting from the same direction. Bursting through her door, he found Jenna at her desk, tears streaming down her face. "What happened?" she stammered, her voice choked with emotion. "How did he find out?" "I don't know, but I've been served with divorce papers," Tom replied, "and Gray and I are both facing civil lawsuits for our actions. There must be more evidence than just those 2 photos you showed me. You need to convince Hank to drop this or Gray will obliterate us." "Oh my God, Tom, this is awful," Jenna sobbed. "I don't want to lose Hank. I have to find a way to resolve this." "Do whatever it takes," Tom urged. "Go home, talk to him, make him see reason. Call me tonight if you can and keep me updated." Shaking, Jenna gathered her belongings and drove home. The man she loved, the father of her children, was divorcing her. She didn't want it to end this way. She genuinely loved Hank, but she couldn't resist the thrill of the affair. Now, she needed to make him understand that she couldn't bear to lose him because of this. When she arrived home, the house was empty. The girls were at Hank's sister's house, as they were every afternoon, while they both worked. Jenna called Hank's sister and requested if she could keep the girls overnight. Without hesitation, she agreed. Jenna showered, did her hair and makeup, and anxiously awaited Hank's return. At 6:00 p.m., she heard the garage door open. Her heart pounded in anticipation of the imminent confrontation. "Jenna," I said as I walked in, "I didn't expect to see you here tonight. I assumed you'd be with Tom." "Oh, wait, he's married with children." This could get complicated. "Hank, please," she said, taking my hand and pulling me to sit beside her on the couch. Despite everything, she appeared composed, almost more agreeable than usual. She had been preparing for this. I indulged her. "Hank, as you already know, I was served today. But I don't want a divorce. I love you, and I need you. I won't sign those papers. Tom means nothing to me. Yes, we had sex, but it wasn't love. I simply needed it, and I'm so sorry. It will never happen again, I promise." "Oh, you promise?" "Well, in that case," I retorted sarcastically, "I guess everything is just fine then. In that case, I guess I can trust you now," I said with a sarcastic smile. "Let's forget everything and go back to normal." Jenna embraced me, planting a kiss on my lips. "Thank you, baby. I love you so much. I'm so grateful you understand and forgive me. I won't lie to you again, I swear." I pulled away gently, pushing her aside. "You're delusional, Jenna. I can't trust you anymore. After all the lies, the deceit, there's nothing left. I gave you so many chances, but you kept lying, destroying our lives. Do you even realize what you're doing to our girls? I can't ignore this. But you don't seem to understand why I'm targeting Tom and Charlie." Her eyes widened in shock. "Well, those partners of yours run a multi-billion-dollar company," I continued. "When I leave, I'll need money to take care of the girls. Since they're partly responsible for destroying our marriage and my life, I'll destroy them too. I'm going to ruin their families, hit them where it hurts the most, financially, and use them like they used you." Jenna had never seen me like this. Angry, focused, unshakable. She realized she had lost all control, both over the situation and over me. Tears streamed down her cheeks as she knelt in front of me, clutching my legs and begging for forgiveness. A flicker of sympathy passed through me, but my anger was stronger. I gently lifted her up onto the sofa and spoke to her in a calm, almost patronizing tone. "Here's the plan, Jenna. Pack your things and stay at your mom's for a few nights. Get yourself a lawyer. We'll arrange a meeting to talk things over. In the meantime, a little advice. Stay far away from Charlie and Tom. Things are about to get messy." Later that night, Jenna went to her mother's house, telling her there had been a disagreement, and she needed to stay for a while. At 11:00 p.m., she called Tom, looping Charlie into a three-way call. "Charlie, are you there?" she asked. "Yes, I'm here," Charlie replied. "Jenna, what happened? Did you manage to convince him to drop the lawsuits and the divorce?" Charlie demanded. "No," Jenna sobbed. "He kicked me out and warned me that things were about to get ugly." Charlie's voice exploded through the phone. "Jesus Christ, Tom. What have you done? You're an idiot. If my wife finds out about this, I'm finished. You swore this woman would never turn on us. Fix this, or I swear I'll ruin you and your family. Understand?" "I don't know what to do," Jenna cried. "Hank's out of control. He won't answer my calls or texts." Charlie cut her off. "Tom, you need to set up a meeting with Hank. Make sure it's somewhere loud, in public. Jenna, you'll be there too. We'll try to make him back off. If he refuses, Tom and I will explain how much worse it'll be for him and his family if he doesn't drop the lawsuits. I've got people who handle things like this, and I won't hesitate to use them." Tom, shaken, replied, "Yes, Mr. Gray, I understand. Jenna, you know what you have to do. Yes, Mr. Gray. Good. Make it happen tomorrow. We're running out of time. Jenna and Tom hung up, both filled with dread. That night, as I listened to the call, I wasn't surprised by their desperation. I was already planning my next move. The next morning, Tom called, asking to meet and settle things. We agreed to meet at 6 p.m. in a courtyard. By 4 p.m., I was at my private investigator's office preparing. We had cutting-edge technology, including noise-canceling mics, ready to capture clear sound even in the noisy environment of the bar. The PI was also there to film the meeting for evidence. I arrived at 6:15 p.m., intentionally keeping them waiting. When I walked up to the group, I saw Jenna with her two accomplices. Jenna, I'm surprised to see you here with your partners, but I guess we all know where your loyalties lie. So, gentlemen, what brings us here? Charlie spoke up first. Hank, I'm Charlie Gray. I requested this meeting. Gray, I said, looking him over. You look different in person. These videos don't really do you justice. Can't say it's a pleasure to meet you. Charlie tried to remain composed. I understand your anger, Hank. If I were in your shoes, I don't know how I'd react. But we need to discuss something important. Go ahead, I said, playing along. We want you to drop the lawsuits against me, Tom, and the company. I chuckled. That's it? Oh, sorry, no can do. Someone has to pay for taking away the most important thing in my life. I glanced at Jenna, the only woman I'd ever loved, the mother of my kids. Jenna began to cry, realizing the gravity of the situation. What will it take for you to end this and take Jenna back? Name your price, Charlie said, trying to sound reasonable. I leaned forward, my tone ice cold. First, no amount of money could make me take her back. She betrayed my trust, my love, and ruined our children's lives. But I'll drop the lawsuits under two conditions. One, I want $5 million in compensation. Two, I want to meet both your wives, and Jenna has to confess everything to them. Charlie's face twisted in anger. Go to hell, Hank. I'll give you $100,000, and you'll sign an agreement to keep this quiet forever. I smiled, unbothered. That's not going to cut it. But I'll drop it to $4 million on one condition. Your families must know the truth. Charlie's rage flared. You're sealing your fate. Think it over, Hank. Drop the lawsuits and take Jenna back. It was just a fling. We can resolve this. I pulled out my phone and sent 2 prearranged text messages. Then I accessed my email and hit send on the messages containing all the videos, photos, and texts. They were now in the inboxes of Jenna's friends, family, and co-workers. Meanwhile, 2 couriers stationed outside Charlie and Tom's homes were delivering packages to their wives, filled with, "Absolutely. Here's the rewritten text, keeping the original structure, tone, and first-person perspective, in English, as requested. Binders of evidence." Charlie's mobile buzzed, then Tom's. Their wives were calling. Charlie glared at me, his face contorted with rage. What the hell, Hank? I'm speaking to you. Are you dropping the lawsuits? I leaned back, keeping my tone level. My answer to you, Tom, and Jenna, is this. Go to hell. Just then, both Charlie and Tom's phones rang again. Their complexions paled as the gravity of the situation sunk in. Jenna looked at me, bewildered. What's going on, Hank? She asked, her voice unsteady. Check your email, I said. I suspect you'll grasp the situation shortly. Charlie, crimson-faced and furious, pointed a finger at me. You're a dead man, Hank. I'll slit your throat and watch you bleed out like a dog. With that, he stormed out of the bar. Tom, on the verge of tears, turned to me. Why? Why would you do this to me? I raised an eyebrow. Seriously? You've been sleeping with my wife every day for months, destroying my marriage, and you're surprised someone would retaliate? Everything I sent your wife was for her benefit, so she could see the real you. You wrecked countless lives, Tom. Just then, Jenna's phone began to vibrate. Her sister, her brother, her aunt. They were all calling, having seen the emails. Jenna's eyes widened in horror as she opened her inbox and saw what I had sent. Her jaw dropped as she stared at me in disbelief. "How could you do this to me?" she whispered. "You made it far too easy, darling," I replied coldly. "I still love you, Jenna, but it's finished. After I provide this recording to the authorities and social services, my lawyer is confident I'll obtain full custody of our daughters. You'll be fortunate to avoid incarceration. I'm sorry, but you must face the consequences." Omnitech settled the lawsuit, paying me $2 million. Charlie Gray was terminated as CEO and left with nothing after violating the morals clause in his contract. He lost upwards of $10 million in stock options and forfeited his severance package. He was also handed a 5-year prison sentence for conspiracy to commit murder. His wife divorced him while he was imprisoned, leaving him penniless and homeless. Tom fared no better. His wife divorced him, taking half of their assets in alimony. He lost his job and was penalized $1 million in a civil suit. He ended up working as a manual laborer, bankrupt and destitute. As for Jenna, she received a 5-year prison sentence, though I intervened to have it reduced to 1 year of house arrest and 4 years of probation. She lost custody of the children, and I now have full custody. She plunged into depression and lives in her mother's basement, estranged from her family. She hasn't seen our daughter since her self-destructive descent began. While vengeance brought a measure of satisfaction, it hasn't healed all my wounds. I still harbor feelings for Jenna, but the betrayal lingers. Caring for my daughters keeps me going, but it will be years before I can open myself to love and trust again. It's astonishing how a few seemingly small actions can devastate so many lives. Caution is advised.